Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I am taking you on a journey through one of the most beautifully profound and philosophical book, The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. As we know, it was written by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who was a French writer and aviator. The book was first published in 1943 during World War II, and it was inspired by the writer's own experiences as pilot. And though this book wasn't an instant success in France, but it also quickly gained popularity after being translated into over 300 languages, and today it is considered as one of the most loved books in the world. This book may seem like a children's tale, but it is full of lessons about love, loss, human nature, and what truly matters in life. The story it begins with the narrator who is a pilot, and when he was a child he loved to draw. He once drew a picture of a snake who was following an elephant, but adults only saw a hat in that. They discouraged him from drawing and he gave up. And fast forwarding to his adult life, now he is a pilot, and one day his plane crashes in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and he was alone and trying to fix his plane when a little boy suddenly appears. And this boy is the little prince. And the first thing he says is, "Please draw me a sheep." The pilot drew so many pictures, but the prince was not happy, and that make the pilot confused. And then he draws a sheep in a box, and to his surprise the prince was very happy. And this moment sets the tone of the story that children see things differently from the adults. And as they talk, the little prince tells the pilot about his home, a tiny asteroid called B612. On his planet, he has to clean volcanoes and remove baobab's trees, because if they grow too big, they can destroy his home. But most importantly, he has a rose. She is beautiful but also vain and demanding. She tells him that she is unique, but the prince feels confused by her attitude. He loves her but doesn't understand her, so he decides to leave his planet and to explore the universe and learn about the life. So here the little prince journey starts. The little prince, he travels to 6 different planets, meeting different adults, each representing a flaw in human nature. On the first planet, he meets a king who believes he rules everything, but he only gives order that align with what's already happening. This shows how some people crave control even when it's meaningless. And on the second planet, he meets a vain man who wants constant admiration. He thinks he is the most important person even though he is alone. This highlights vanity and the need for the attention. And on the third planet, there's a drunkard who drinks to forget his shame about drinking. It is sad cycle that shows how people avoid problems instead of solving them. And then he reaches the fourth planet where he meets a businessman who spends all his time counting stars because he thinks he owns them. He is obsessed with possessions but doesn't understand their real value. And on the fifth planet, there's a lamplighter who lights and puts out a lamp every minute. He follows orders blindly, even when they make no sense. This shows how rules can sometimes take away purposes. And finally, on the sixth planet, the prince meets a geographer who records facts but never explores them. He tells the prince that his rose won't last forever, which makes the prince sad. After that, the little prince finally reaches Earth, and here he meets important characters who change his perspective. First, he meets a snake who talks mysteriously about helping him return his home. The snake symbolizes death and transition, and after that, the prince finds a garden that was full of roses, and he feels heartbroken. He thought his rose was unique, but now he sees thousands of others just like her. This is when he meets the fox, who becomes his greatest teacher. The fox tells the prince that things become special when you tame them, when you build a strong bond and care for them. He says, one sees clearly only with the heart. What is essential is invisible to eyes. This helps the prince realize that his rose is unique, not because she is the only rose, but because he has loved and cared for her. After that, the little prince spent some more time with the pilot, sharing his wisdom, but eventually he decides to go back to his rose, and to that he lets the snake bite him, a symbolic death that allows him to return to his planet, and the pilot is left alone in the desert, but he now sees the stars differently. The prince told him, whenever you look at the stars, I will be there laughing. This gives the narrator hope and a connection to the little prince forever. So now let's quickly go over the main characters and what they represent. First, the little prince. He represents innocence, curiosity, and the wisdom that comes from seeing the world through a child's eye. Now, the rose. She symbolizes love and relationships. Though imperfect, the rose is special because of the care and effort the little prince gave her. The fox, a wise character who teaches the prince about love, connection, and understanding that what's truly important is invisible to the eyes. The snake, a symbol of death, but also of transition, showing that ending are the parts of life. The adults on the planets. So each adult that little prince encounters represent a flaw in human behavior. The king, he symbolizes the obsession of power and control, whereas the businessman is consumed by greed, and the lamplighter, he just blindly follows the orders, and the geographer, he prioritizes knowledge but without exploration. And these characters highlights the absurdities of adult priorities that is very different and contrasting with the little prince innocence and curious perspective. Next, the pilot. So pilot is a grown up who has lost the touch with his imagination, and after crashing in Sahara desert, he meets the little prince who helps him rediscover wonder, creativity, and deep meanings of life. So his journey, it represents the struggle between the responsibilities of adulthood and the innocence of childhood. Now let's talk about the themes of the Little Prince. So first, there is childhood versus adulthood. So the book, it really shows the difference between how children and adults see the world. While kids are imaginative and curious, adults are often stuck in their obsession with things like power, money, and rules, and it reminds us to hold on to that childlike wonder we all once had. Then there's love and relationship. So the bond between the little prince and the rose is such a big part of the story that it shows that love isn't always easy. It takes patience, care, and understanding. And the friendship with the fox. It's all about trust and how relationships make life meaningful. Another theme is loneliness and isolation. The little prince, he travels from planet to planet, meeting all different characters, but he feels lonely. Even the pilot, who was stuck in the desert, feels this way until he meets the little prince. It really makes you think about how important real connections are. And the story explores for the search for the meaning. The little prince is trying to understand what really matters in life, and though his journey, we see it is not about possessions or status. It's about love, relationships, and the inner growth. And of course, there's the absurdity of the adult behavior. The adults the little prince meets, they are so caught up in things like vanity, greed, and those pointless rules. It's almost funny, but it is also a reminder to look at what we prioritize in life. And another big theme is perspective and perception. So, this one is so powerful, it teaches us that what truly matters is invisible to the eyes, and the emotions, connections, and experiences are more valuable than what we can see on the surface. Lastly, there's the theme of mortality and the legacy. So, the little prince's departure is emotional, but it also shows us that love and memories we create can last forever, even when someone isn't physically with us anymore. So, all of these themes come together to create a story that's just not beautiful but also deeply meaningful. And that's why The Little Prince continues to touch everyone's heart. That's the end of our journey through The Little Prince. So, this story reminds us to cherish love, imagination, and the things that truly matters in life. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Kingdom of Summaries. See you all next time.